Way too fast.
It was way too fast, Paul. You were counting alright, and then you just kind of sped up towards the end. It's like...
I was looking at my phone.
Shocking.
You
Phone out
just
during
has-
D&D, what is this?
I will... When I have my phone out, it is because I'm looking up stuff for D&D.
Just say you have a call from your employer, Paul. It works for me.
I would look it up on my laptop in the game, but because of where my camera is,
Yeah,
I don't want everyone to see this.
Oh, hacker man!
Your fingers.
I'm in.
He's the most powerful hacker in the universe.
Click.
As for everyone at home, we
Yeah.
welcome you back to Twisted Fates, and this week again is a little bit different, similar to last week, though I have a different pairing than we started off with last week. We do not have Matthew and Ewan with Paul, we've just got Craig with Paul.
Hello. I'm a worse option.
I mean, we'll see if you keep rolling nat 20s.
If
Then
you roll, if your first roll of the night is nat 20, I'm officially quitting D&D.
1 in 20 chance. Come on, we can do this. Don't need
As,
to worry about Markusar's sketchy shit if Paul just quits.
as the session is going to be very similar to last week and how it was split is I've got my boys, so I've got Craig. I've got Craig and Paul with me for the first half, and then Ewan and Matthew will be joining us for the second half. However, Craig's not leaving for that part, he's sticking around. He's going to be a silence presence in the background for probably the majority of the second half, give or take a few interjections and really bad jokes.
Unless he fucking dies in this little RP we're about to do.
Paul's hopeful. Oh, he's so
Paul,
hopeful.
you better hope that Craig doesn't die in this little bit. Because if Craig dies in this little bit, I get to bring something I've had in the background out for a very long time.
You know what? I think Roderick and Eidolon can settle their differences.
Amicably.
Amicably, you know? We'll go for a beer and just
We
bro
can
it
work
out.
it. We can work it all out.
Yeah.
I can lament about my dead wife. You can lament about the fact that the woman you like is married. You
It's
know.
the same thing, really, isn't it?
Nope. No, it is not.
As I'll kind of give you a bit of a recap for what happened last time on both sides of the field, not just for these boys. As for my first half, for the first half of the session with Wulfric, Ranaagash, and Paul, who is an omnipresent presence for the first 20 minutes until Markusar showed up. They discovered that Eidolon was gone. Wulfric was very dead set on just letting Eidolon come back on his own terms, which, to be fair, as
Seems
much
to
as
have been the right idea.
as much as it's Craig's gone missing, you should probably look for him. Given how the second half of last session went, he's not really wrong.
He can handle himself.
Hey, I would just appreciate the worry sometimes, because if I'm captured and then I die, it's Ewan's fault.
As
Then it's a third death on his hands.
my three musketeers, my three idiots, went around town trying to find out what happened to Eidolon. They got some information, though were put on the wrong track, as every single one of them forgot about the dart that Markusar found under the bed, and no one asked about it.
I kind of forgot about the dart.
I mean, everyone forgot about the dart.
Yeah.
You could have not forgotten about the dart. You didn't need to forget about the dart.
You had this nice little RP session with these two guys set up to be like, oh, they can give us more information, and we were just like, can't tell us anything? Great, and we left.
And coming to the end of the first half, we actually got to see, I guess, the behind the curtains of perhaps how Markusar actually came back to life, as he was given a nice little task to do, Paul. Wonder how you'll complete that.
Terrible.
How's your sleight of hand?
Not great.
I mean, he's got a dex mod, so it'll be better than Wulfric and Ranaagash's combined.
That is true. If you haven't seen the kind of, I guess, end credits scenes for the past 3 episodes of Twisted Fates, you got a glimpse into how Markusar is still kicking about, considering he is now...
It takes a lot more than that to kill me.
At this point, when do we just assume that Markusar has the ability to respawn?
Give it 2 more deaths, and then he respawns.
Yeah. How does he get 1 more?
You start Mario with 3 lives.
Markusar started his life with 3. Okay. How does he get? Can he get a 1-up? If he collects like 100 gold, does he get a 1-up?
Maybe, but he doesn't
Level
collect
up.
gold.
Yeah, I don't touch gold. I don't have no need for money.
Oh well, Roderick does.
Yes, he does. Like the opposite, Markusar.
Yeah. Strange that. All of these layers to characters.
On the topic of Roderick and his gold, which is about to become mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were Roderick and Eidolon up to last
What
session?
were
I wonder.
Roderick and Eidolon up to last session? Let me think.
Nat 20, Nat 20.
Eidolon was captured by the Unfortunate Sons in a unfortunate incident. Funny jokes.
We cancel the GM.
However, it kind of all went wrong. Not for Eidolon, but for Roderick, for Brakatar, and for the rest of the Unfortunate Sons. Is when Eidolon woke up, he had no intention of sticking around, and Craig's
3 nat
luck
20s.
was
3 nat 20s.
stupid.
It's not luck, it's skill.
You can see the end of last session at the top of the roll 20 on this week's episode, and yeah, Craig's rolls are pretty stupid. They didn't get any less stupid, and I think Eidolon did everything so perfectly, he did it a bit too perfectly, and ended up where he didn't really want to be, so he had to end up leading them all out into the woods, changing his plans slightly, which might avoid him some combat, and now, whilst Roderick is chasing his tail and trying to get back to the ruins, Eidolon is sneaking his way in to find his wedding ring and his bracelet, hopefully.
Listen, I am a firm believer in karma, which means all of my rolls this session are going to be dog shite. So,
We
I
shall
stick
see.
to my beliefs. I know I'm gonna get bad rolls.
Roderick's turn for the nat 20s.
Yeah?
Hey, there's another player in this. It could be my turn for the nat 20s.
Oh, and that goes so well for both of us.
As Craig, as Eidolon is obviously making his way through, trying to obviously find his stuff, there is another player in the ruins, though that you're not too sure of. When you were coming back, tail end of last session, as the Unfortunate Sons tried to gather themselves in Myrr and chase you down and return back to base to finally apprehend you, you notice some bodies outside of the keep. Outside of the
They
ruins.
were dead, Unfortunate Sons.
They were dead, Unfortunate Sons. As well as...
Unfortunate Sons. It's a double negative, so they're Fortunate Sons? No.
Quite possibly.
I mean, death is the most fortunate you can get.
Yeah.
As
How bleak.
there appears to be a little bit of combat going on inside the tower, where you're not too sure and who with you're not too sure. But with your stealth roll from last time,
23.
a 23, starting off with stupid numbers already, and he's not even touched the dice yet. Where do you plan on heading? Is if you're breaking into this kind of sidewall, you kind of get into what looked like it would have been either pantries or storage rooms that have kind of been turned more into like personal effects rooms, or just kind of shoddy workspaces that seems to turn into more of a bunkhouse where bedrolls and bunk beds have kind of been propped up against the wall, strewn across the floor, and given them a space to, I guess, rest and sleep whilst they still have a roof over their head.
Okay, so that's looking to the right. I'll probably head into that room, because, well, for now, I don't know where, if they keep the loot that they, compile in any specific place, so if any of them have taken something from me, they might have just stored it in here or with their stuff. So it'll just be trying to stay lightfoot, enter into this sort of bunk room and start just pilfering through their belongings, seeing if I can find my belongings.
Give me an investigation.
Uh-huh. That's A plus
Paul
4.
watches intently to see what...
That's only a 6.
I was going to say you shouldn't be celebrating, Paul, but no, technically you should, because the two of you are against each other in this situation at the moment. Stop flipping me off!
Flipping Craig off.
Yeah, it's me this time. He's happy that I'm failing.
The amount of times you were flipping folk off last session.
Maybe they had it coming.
I was mad.
I could tell.
He was mad.
I could also tell that you were trying to hold it back because you couldn't, scream fuck because you're at home.
Yeah.
Can't vocalize it.
I don't think my parents would take too kindly to that.
No, I don't think they would. As with your roll of 6, Craig, you kind of make your way through the bunkhouse. There is some stuff, so there's spare linens, there's some spare weapons. There is a few, I guess, either basic medical supplies or basic herbalism kits. There is a small collection of gold, kind of almost like pennies between the sheets sort of gold, that if you want to pick that up you can accumulate that, but in terms of actually locating anything valuable or locating your valuables, they're not here.
So how much gold is it? They don't need it.
You bastard.
It's only 6 gold.
Ah.
Some of it is in Smash.
That's Roderick 6 gold.
Penny for my troubles.
Like, some of it's in Smash as well, so it's like maybe like 4 gold and the rest is a mixture of copper and silver, but...
I'm just gonna put 6 gold.
Yeah. As I said, it's kind of like the stuff that gets stuck in the pockets when they've obviously been changing and stuff that they've not noticed is there.
Since it's clear that they don't exactly keep belongings here, I see that there's a set of 2 doors here.
Yep.
I'll essentially just creep up to that and essentially just put my ear up against the door to see if I can hear anything on the other side.
You can hear silence.
Alright, I mean, that's a pretty good sign. If I can't hear anything on the other side of this door, I'll essentially creep open. I'll spend maybe a few seconds listening.
As you go to open it, can you give me a strength?
Okay. That is an 11.
Cool. It takes you a little bit of time to open this door. There's something on the other side of it that seems to kind of be almost keeping it shut. You even try the one next to it to try and open it, and that one also has a little bit of difficulty, though not as much as you kind of shuggle it and push it open. When you do so and you actually get enough that you can either squeeze through or walk through, you notice that what was keeping the door closed is a slumped body.
Is it orcish by chance?
Nope. It is an unfortunate,
Okay,
or what you can presume to be an unfortunate son, though. A relatively kind of broad-shouldered human man that at one point looked like he probably wielded an axe of some kind, as he has a hand axe not too far from him, but he's not one you recognise.
As long as he's not got my ring or my bracelet, that's fine.
Not that you can see, at least on his person.
So what? There's the doors here, or there's the hallway going up this way?
Yeah.
Keeping my eye on, of course, this area here, because this appears to be the sort of more main entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I'll open up these doors, slowly trying to keep myself quiet, and have a peer in through into there.
Cool. As you peer in through there, this appears to be perhaps more of a kitchen, though in that sense it's kind of a bit thrown together. A lot of it is from barrels and smells quite heavily of alcohol. A few upturned tables and a few people kind of... You could presume them to be drunk and unconscious, but given the state of the rest of the place, probably more so that they are also either dead or dying.
That's fine. They can die.
Where's your humanity, Eidolon?
When did he have any?
Yeah. As you can't really see, I guess, anything major, though there is a smaller room to the back. You can see the doors for it, but the likelihood is because this is where they seem to gather and eat and drink and gamble, that's probably more of like a pantry that keeps any of their foods rather than actual valuables.
That's food store, not anything else. Alright. Not entering the kitchen in that case. Keeping it in mind for once he's done here, if he's certain that it's quiet, maybe coming through, looking through their bodies, getting as much gold as possible from this. I'll head up through this way.
So as you branch around these corridors, it seems to be an internal way to get into this very big base tower. You can even see once you get into it, the stairs going down that lead into the cell blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of off at the end of the corridor as you're kind of coming round. With your passive perception, however, you will also be able to hear that Roderick and his merry band are also coming back to the tower.
The tower specifically?
Well, the ruins, as they are coming back from the forest, seemingly on the kind of more western side of it, starting to come round, gather themselves. They have realised your ruse, realised your trick, and they are coming back to obviously come and find you. For yourself, Roderick, you are heading back to the ruins with, well, Ingrid and Gregor are with you, as well as just a few miscellaneous members. And when you come back to the tower, you find bodies outside the front doors, outside the front.
God, I look so much more menacing than I actually am.
You do, yeah.
Yeah. Roger would just say, "Good God," and then probably just go in through the main entrance and try and clear the building, room by room. Try and snuff them out.
Split up and look for clues.
Yes, I don't want to repeat Craig, but I kind of just do his thing and just kind of check all the rooms.
He's following my footsteps whilst I'm a few steps ahead.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, because I'll be heading to the tower now in that case. I hear that they're coming back, so I'm trying to stay quiet, of course. I'll pick up my pace ever so slightly. Mainly because since all of these rooms seem to be like living or eating, I can assume that the tower would be more of their base of operations for actual like merc duties, so they're keeping my stuff, probably keeping it there.
As Roderick, as you're kind of looking around, there is no trace of Eidolon, however there is more bodies. A few that you would hearken to call friend are either in the state of they're already dead or they're too far gone to be recovered. Give me an investigation just as you're kind of going around, because you'll be moving obviously people around and making sure they're okay.
11, sorry.
You're not too sure how they've all died, but it could have been Eidolon, as they don't appear to have any major weapon wounds. And
like no clear signs of a blade or anything.
No. And Eidolon is obviously, he's just got his fist right now and obviously his tendrils. But like, there is no obvious weapon wound. They just seem to have almost keeled over.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good chance it could have been him, as you're kind of going round. As Eidolon, you're getting into the tower, and you hear two noises. There is about 2 flights of this tower, so you've on the ground level, you've got a first floor and a second floor that are still intact enough where there's some noise coming from the top, and then the cell block that you were kept in, these kind of downward stairs, you can also hear the heels of boots down there.
Important thing though, when I was down there I didn't see any place for them to hold prisoners' belongings, did I?
No. Well, you didn't see the base tower room.
I'm gonna take my chances. If I need to, I can head back down there. I'm going to head up.
Cool.
See if I can try find my shit.
Heading up your first flight of stairs, you kind of come to this almost overlook floor that is primarily used, looks like, for more of a watchtower style. There's some more bedrolls, and they're mostly positioned quite close to the windows, where you can even see some longbows and some arrows kind of perched upon wooden boxes. Just probably pot shots into the woods, hunting game.
If it doesn't take me too much time, can I grab one of those? Because I'm proficient in longbows.
You can, yeah.
As long as it doesn't take me too much time, if I can just pick one up when I'm on my way through.
No, I mean they're more hunting bows than good quality longbows, but they'll do you in a pinch, you know?
I'll just leave it in that case, because it would take the second to sling it on and might make some noise. If I feel like it, I'll take one when I'm on my way back down, but that's fine for now.
With your passive perception, as you're kind of making your way, I guess, the second set of stairs that continue to spiral up, though these ones are in much more of a state of decay than the last ones, you can smell, I guess the best way to describe it is plants. It's very almost...
This is where that orc is.
It's very almost humid up the stairs.
Definitely where this orc is in that case.
As you can hear some movement.
More for aesthetic value, would my visage essentially help cover me from any toxins and such? Because that essentially forms the blight around my head. More for aesthetic rather than anything else.
Aesthetic, yes. It also obviously gives you your own advantages when it comes to seeing invisible shit.
Not right now. I don't have my amulet.
That's true, yeah. You still need to find that.
Yeah, but it's more for the aesthetic value, if that sounds okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Essentially just smelling that, I'd more just start flaring it up in my arm and let it crawl up, which means I'll cut my visage up. I do have dark vision now, which is the main thing, and I can speak telepathically as I'll make my way up the stairs.
As Roderick, you now also have a choice. As...
well, I've going through the building and stuff like that, I would know where his belongings were being kept, correct?
You would, yes.
Okay. Where are they being kept?
I'd say in Bracketar's room, but it's more in Bracketar's alchemy lab.
God, I'm too good!
Which is at the top of the tower?
At the top of the tower.
Okay. I would have assumed that Eidolon would be looking for his stuff, and I would head for the tower as well.
Mm-hmm.
As you get to the tower and get to the stairs... Oh yeah, because you've got one at the top and one in the bottom. As you get to the tower, as you get to the stairs... You also hear, well, you hear movement upstairs, presumably Bracketar moving around. You can't really hear if Eidolon's up there.
Yeah.
However, you can also hear footsteps. They seem to be almost coming up the stairs to the cell, or where the cell block is. They're almost coming up those stairs. You can just hear the clicking of, well, heels on stone. But where you'd expect a person to appear, no one does. It's almost just an echo of footsteps.
So I'm hearing footsteps come from below, but I don't see anyone.
Yep.
I think Roderick, he knows that Eidolon probably wouldn't go down, because why would you go down? Like, I know there's nothing in the cells other than the hole that he made in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Permanent feature now.
So I guess Roderick would just probably brush it off and keep heading up the stairs.
This is going to be fun.
I know.
2 on 1. Hey, 2 on 1. At least it's fair now.
As for yourself, Eidolon, you head up. You can obviously hear footsteps following you now as you kind of get up to that last part of the spiral, keeping your footing, make sure you don't slip on the rubble, or make sure you don't fall through crumbling stairs either. And you get to...
Be great, would it?
It wouldn't. You get to the base tower, part of this ruin that is primarily intact, though has been very heavily augmented for experimentation to a degree. There is a lot of plants, there is a lot of flowers and fauna up here that would likely be used for poisons and toxins. Also, you can smell some sweeter flowers and even some berries, most likely for brewing. But you can also see that kept within this old-fashioned dungeon style, there is also quite a few lockboxes and bigger chests. To be fair, if you're going to keep something valuable, why not keep it in the place that's the most dangerous to get to? Because if you touch the wrong thing here, you'll likely end up on the floor in some kind of paralytic state.
By the fact there's lockboxes, I presume I can't just see my things.
Nope. I need to actually find out what the modifier is.
Should I make a new stealth roll or nah?
No.
I'll stick with a 23 in that case.
You have the ability to deflect missiles as well, because you would you would see this coming.
What's being done?
That's a 22.
To hit?
Yep.
Cool. So the damage being? Means with dart it's usually d4.
It is, yeah. I'm gonna sneeze.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, I know. The damage is 7.
Cool, so without rolling I'll deflect it back, but I'll still roll anyway.
Cool.
So that's 17, so... I'm assuming I catch a dart in that case?
You do, yeah. A little bit more careful, a little bit more cautious when you catch it.
Am I permitted to aestheticize this?
Yes.
In a specific way in that case? It wouldn't be my hands that catch it, literally just a tendril shoots out the second it gets close, wraps around it, and just holds onto it. And if someone shot at me, I might deflect it.
I mean,
we'll see what you say next.
Someone did shoot it at you. As, I guess not so much hiding, but it was kind of more he was doing something and backwards throw as you were coming up the stairs. The orc is currently playing around with some glass vials on a bench.
Does he look at all phased that I've caught this?
You're not too sure because you can't see his face.
Let's try catch his attention. I might miss this, but it's going to be worth it. I'm considered proficient automatically. And I use my dex. I'm assuming an 8 misses though.
Yep, as you fling the dart back and it hits into the wall. As he kind of looks up at the feathers now sticking out of the stonework. Well, at least I was right. You're not Roderick.
Believe me, if I was, you'd have hit.
I'd also have been able to hear you a lot sooner.
So, where's my stuff?
We're not going to get much money out of you, so why would I tell you that? At least I can sell your stuff.
That's implying you're going to be alive in the next minute. And anyway, if you're dead, I can just go through all of this shit that you've got. So save yourself some decency and give me back my shit.
See, you're still outnumbered.
So what, you'd prefer a fair fight?
At this point, you've not been very fair to us, so why should I give you a fair fight?
You see, here's the funny part. I've done nothing to the lot of you. Only your building. Now, as I'm essentially going to start stepping forward, and Eidolon more getting frustrated because this is his ring. What the orc would hear as Eidolon starts stepping forward is a number of buckles starting to break themselves as the tendrils, rather than just wrapping around his arm, begin wrapping around his body, almost like snakes starting to wrap around different parts, going around his neck, up around his head, almost starting to form a presence And I'm assuming you're going to allow me to aestheticize it this way, similar to even that in not Westcross, it was Hillview. As that sort of entity almost starts pouring out the back of Eidolon, as more just stepping forward closer to the orc, putting out a hand, not to, because of course I'm not making any action just yet. More readying as the tendrils slowly start creeping across the ground closer to him. Give me back my ring. As can I potentially make an intimidation? This isn't the most natural thing for someone to see in the world.
I will give you an intimidation, and then Roderick gets to see this weird symbiote.
Because I have my visage, it's with advantage. That's a nat 20.
No, you had some bad rolls before this.
And it was with advantage, don't worry.
But very great for the nat 20s to happen as soon as combat started. Very.
It's almost like he's timed them, eh, Paul?
Yeah. I fucking hate. Who do you know at roll 20?
My uncle works at roll 20.
As
We'll see if that was intimidating enough.
he looks phased to begin with, and then his expression kind of shifts a little bit. As with your past perception, you'll be able to hear it, so it's not too much of a surprise. He's likely gotten more relaxed as he believes he has backup. As Roderick, you come up the stairs, and you see Bracketar at his workbench, as he always is, more, I guess, pinned against the workbench, however, as Eidolon is there, though he is a little bit tentacly, is almost this form of him seems to start shifting and changing, wrapped in these black tendrils that seem to increase his body mass and his height, that seem to shift and change his form and almost turn him into something that looks that little bit more armoured or even that little bit more demonic, as it seems that he is, at least from a base understanding of magic, it almost looks like he's shapeshifted rather than like using an actual magical effect. It almost looks like his form, his body is changing with these tendrils. As what do you do? Because you have an action before I need you boys to roll me some initiative.
I have an idea what I want to do, but I don't know how to phrase it.
Just say it as it is in that case.
We should have killed you while you slept, murdering all those boys downstairs.
Eidolon completely aware that Roderick is behind him, but more focused on this man.
Yeah.
You say I still have some time in?
Technically, you would have 6 seconds of an action, whether Roderick wants to take that 6 seconds to do an action as well as speech, or whether you would take the action from him.
I mean, if I've heard him talk, I'm not exactly going to be taking anything slow anymore. As hearing words from behind him, essentially is going to take a tendril and attempt to wrap them around this orc's throat.
Cool.
I can at least use them as a punching bag. Is that an unarmed attack?
That would be an unarmed attack, yes, with your tendrils. With your tentacles.
I don't suppose he's considered frightened at this point.
Technically he would be, yes.
Oh.
Because he did fail the check. He's just feeling a bit...
I have absolutely no idea what the frightened condition does. So he's got disadvantage on everything right now, because he can see me.
Anything he tries to do against you will have disadvantage, and in an ideal world he will attempt to use, his movement to get away from you. That will also hit.
It's not too much damage, don't worry. I don't have my amulet right now.
At 19.
That's only 6 damage though. However, can he please make me a Constitution saving throw?
He's not great at these. 13.
He'll probably still pass. That's a fail, so he's stunned. As the tendril wraps around his neck and essentially starts constricting. So representing the stunned is more a grapple, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just using one of the stray tendrils.
As for yourself, Roderick, I need you to roll me some initiative.
Cool. I have advantage on these.
I don't.
I also need you to roll it as well, Craig.
Oh, and as always, initiative is not my strong suit. Never has been.
So, like, in the middle, like...
It's either a 10 or, like, a 12.
Yeah.
It's kind of mediocre.
So I think they'll have gone higher than you. My 1. Nope. No, it's the same. So... And then it would be...
No, I didn't expect to be talking this soon, so I didn't have any, like... I've not had my smooth talking prepared. I did not expect to have to talk as much as fight. That's about it.
Actually,
I'm happy
no,
with...
you'd go first. And then it'd be him.
Paul goes first.
I go first.
Well, Paul is first in initiative, but it's between you and Bracketar because you got the same initiative, so... Eidolon, and then Bracketar. As Paul, you will have some help because they're not just going to leave you on your own up here when people are dying, so you're going to have some backup, not this round, but the next round.
Good stuff.
But for now, top of initiative, it is Roderick's go, as you are, well, witnessing the strangulation of your friend.
Okay. Well, obviously I'm just gonna attack.
I mean, what else would he do? I can't exactly judge him.
I need the stab block as well.
So yeah, I want to swing my wee hammer about.
A wee hammer, a boot.
My wee hammer.
A wee hammer.
So that is
I don't have my ring, so I can't shield at the moment.
a 13.
Oh, that
13,
misses.
so that will miss. What is your AC
I
just now
had-
without your shield, Craig?
17.
I'm pretty sure I had established last week that I am raging in a frenzy.
Yes,
Yes,
you are raging
and
in
you've been
frenzy.
punching yourself to
And
upkeep it.
And you've been punching yourself to upkeep it.
Yes, I would like to attack again.
Go.
I mean, he's got 3 of these, so if he doesn't
Yeah.
hit one of them, it's going to be greatly disappointing.
17.
That'll hit.
That is my AC, so yes.
And I'm going to be attacking a third time, so I'll just roll that.
Go ahead. Yes, indeed. Why wouldn't you, though?
An 18.
That will also
Those
hit.
all hit. Well, 2 of those hit,
Right.
yes.
So roll damage twice.
So that is 2d10 plus 5. So that's... fuck you. That's 8 for the first attack,
Oh, how threatening.
and 15 for the next.
That's better.
Yes. God, that's so disappointing.
I mean, I can only deal 1d6 damage at the moment, so...
Oh, wait, no. Plus 2 melee damage, so that's another 4 on that. So that is...
4, how wounding.
Yes. So, my maths, 27 damage.
I've
Right.
already done all the math.
Okay, so that will end. But not right now. To which case, I'd launch your go.
Cool. Of course, I still have Bracketar stunned,
Yes.
so that's all fine. And he is stunned until the end of his next turn, so he physically can't do anything. So,
Even after he's stunned, is he still frightened?
I don't see any reason the frightened would drop.
Yeah, that's what I
Personally.
was thinking.
What is your DC for the frightened condition, Craig?
I guess it would be 15 if it's my key save.
That's okay.
It's only a d6, but 4 attacks against Paul doesn't sound like the worst decision in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, we'll do 4 attacks. So that's a key point, as essentially Eidolon's not even going to look at you,
Oh, swell.
as he's going to stay essentially strangulating Bracketar. Aesthetically, of course, I am looking at you. This is just for the aesthetic for not looking. As the beast behind him instead slowly starts to turn around as you see 4 tendrils almost just rip themselves out the back of it and attempt to impale into you. Is that? And we'll just roll them all as well. So that's a 25, 18, 17, 19.
They all hit.
Cool. It's not going to be too much, remember, because it's only d6s.
No.
As you take, this is force damage too. That is 34 force damage.
Yeah, I don't have resistance to that.
No.
Nope. Even like the only player thing that can get resistance to force damage is Bear Totem Barbarians.
Yeah.
That is it.
You get resistance to
Um,
everything.
I am not looking great.
And fuck it, Paul. Give me a con save. I know you're good at these, but give me a con save.
As I'm
For the hell of
raging,
it.
I have advantage on that.
It's for the hell of it, because I know he'll pass. I'm not stupid.
Wait, 2.
Yeah, that passes.
Yeah.
It was just to see if I could get you stunned too.
Yeah, fair.
I mean, it'd be
But
good if
apart
you
from that,
could.
I would do the same thing in your position.
oh, I know you would.
It's only strength saves you have advantage on, Paul.
Oh, it's only strength saves. So does he need to roll it again, or does he use
Oh,
the 2?
Damn
no,
it.
I will. I will take the
I would
20.
use.
I will take it on this one. It was just a sudden thought. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's only strength checks and strength saves.
God damn it.
But you can take it for that
you're-
roll.
I was reading it there. I was like,
Can I petition a roll again?
No.
Yeah, I don't feel right. That's cheating.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
Oh
I'll-
no! Come on, Paul. If you fail this, I'm gonna feel awful. Because you passed it. I'm not gonna feel right if he fails it now.
You feel dirty.
I'll feel so. That's a fail.
Great, I'm stunned.
Stunned.
As the 4 tendrils all pierce into the different parts of your torso, and you probably attempt to move, at least recoiling from the pain, but you're simply held in place by all 4 of them.
Great. Swell.
I feel kind of dirty now.
Nah, don't. It's fine. I
I feel good about that.
As Brakatar can't act because he's incapacitated.
Right.
Well, he's stunned.
Well, yeah, but the conditions are coupled together. Stun just has extra caveats.
You joke.
Roderick, sorry, you're also stunned and incapacitated. However, you do have some friends, so...
Yay.
Friends here?
As coming up the stairs...
Actually, no, Brakatar wouldn't be stunned anymore because it's been a turn since I stunned him. So if he has an action before Roderick, then he can do something.
Yeah, it's the end of your turn, isn't it?
Yeah, so Paul is stunned until essentially my next turn's over. However, this was my next turn since I'd stunned Brakatar at the beginning of combat.
Yeah, so he can
So if
actually...
Brakatar's got a turn, he can do something.
He can actually act, which he will do. Just give me a second whilst I check something. Ah, that's super bright. Blinding myself.
This is why you use light mode. To blind your GM.
There we go. I'm back to normal. Right, so I will run through his actions first, and then Roderick will get... Well, I say Roderick. They'll both get some help.
Do they really need help? I can only deal a d6 damage.
Yeah, but...
Not what you did downstairs. We need all the help we can get. But we don't know that.
Okay, so stop that.
Now they know. I'd like my ring back. That would be very helpful.
Nope. Nope.
Do everything with a d6 die.
He doesn't hit any of his attacks.
God fucking damn it, why did we put him in charge of the Unfortunate Sons?
The highest he
Oh,
rolls
he's
is
a-
a 9.
Ah, what a fucking loser.
As he breaks out of your stun, gets away from you to some degree, but attempts more to... It seems that his way of fighting is very monkish in its traditions, very similar to how, I guess, Eidolon was trained to fight with regards to looking for weaknesses or pressure points, though he fights with a weapon, drawing his blade, and attempting to hit your nervous points to obviously weaken you, to break your defences, but as he attempts to do so, it's almost like the blight protects you.
What
as
I even
he's
like to
doing it.
imagine is he's like swinging his sword, but almost casually, like a tendril just whips around and just knocks the blade away.
It's the first time in a long time you and the blight have perhaps seen eye to eye on something.
I want something back. The blight wants to kill these fools. I can't blame it.
As coming up the stairs, for yourself, Roderick, you'll kind of see them more at the corner of your eyes. You are more grappled and stunned by these tendrils. Is Gregor and Ingrid. So for Craig, it's the kind of broader-shouldered human man and a smaller yet still broad-shouldered female dwarf.
Dwarf, interesting.
And they will also make some attacks against you.
I don't know if this image is scary to either of those two.
It is. They kind of stop at the top of the stairs, not really sure what to do, but see the state of Roderick and obviously Brakatar. This is kind of an image they have seen before, as this is what will have attacked them that night after you were knocked unconscious. So they are
That's what I'm going for.
attempting to attempting to obviously incapacitate you or kill you. They're not too fussed which one at this point,
And they killed him.
as that would be a 20, a 21 and a 16 from Gregor,
So 2 hits, 1 miss.
and Ingrid won't hit because that's only a 14.
Are either of them attacking with ranged weapons?
Nope.
Cool.
Gregor has what looks like quite a big longsword, and Ingrid has quite a hefty axe.
Man of culture, I see.
So I need 1, 2 dice. That's actually really convenient. That would be 16 slashing damage.
Okay. Is that all of it?
That's all of it.
Cool.
As he kind of comes and more attempts to try and start cutting away at the tendrils that are attacking Roderick. And Ingrid attempts to do the same.
They'd noticed that every time they cut through one, they just grow back.
Yeah.
Cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place.
can the two of you give me perception checks?
Yeah. 19.
Nice.
Lower than my passive.
6. Lower than my passive.
As for yourself, Craig, as you're in combat, you can hear, obviously there is the now clashing of swords, the battering of weaponry, the cracking of wood, and obviously the noise of your tendrils. But amongst it all, you can also hear that clicking of a heel again. You can't see anyone, but it's almost as if someone else has come up and joined you in the room. Almost spectating, for now.
Well, if they're the person who's doing this, the unfortunate sons, Eidolon can at least make a pseudo-intellectual assumption that they're not here to at least kill him yet. Which means their presence in the room is not exactly a deterrent from what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he can continue as such. Is it my turn?
It is, yes.
Cool. Noticing that these two annoyances seem to care for the person on the ground, I'm going to try manipulate that with just a few words. So yeah, I'm going to use my visage in a way I haven't used before, which is instead of speaking telepathically, I'm going to project my voice so make it so loud everyone within 600 feet can hear it, which means it's going to be rather deafening to these people. However, in a strange way, he's not shouting it or bellowing it, he's just speaking it. However, it is that sort of ear-shatteringly loud for them being so close.
Yeah.
In which it's just... give me a second, my throat's kind of dry.
It's like when Galadriel just goes off on Frodo and it kind of just echoes through the woods and shit. He would get that reference.
If only the others were within 600 feet and they could hear Eidolon shouting.
Yes, but we're off chasing a snake or something, I don't know.
As with tendrils almost starting to erupt out again, pointing towards these three additional unfortunate sons in the room. Back away or his blood will shower you.
Wait, you're gonna burst me?
Yeah.
Wait, for real?
Yeah?
Did you know you could do that? I had no idea you could do that. I don't know enough about Eidolon to know if you can do that.
Again, I don't know if that's an intimidation or not, but those are the words I would speak, as it's very clear I do have Roderick under my grasp right now.
Would Roderick shout anything in rebuttal?
He can't.
Oh yeah, he can't.
He can't speak.
Grunts and groans.
Yeah.
Give me a intimidation, Craig.
Thanks, yeah. That's a 17.
Cool.
2 16s.
Nice.
That's pretty high. I'm a fan of that.
They don't look too phased. The dwarf kind of laughs and I guess looks at him, looks at Roderick. He'd never look better then. Maybe we can do the same to you though.
Cool, I'm going to make 4 attacks with the intent on killing him.
Nice.
Oh shit, you're not even going to go for the other two? You're just going to kill me straight up?
I have advantage on all of these attacks because he's incapacitated.
Fucking
This is my last key point, but oh, is it so worth it after everything he's done so far. That's a 17, 18, 25, 26.
Bro, could you just not?
As that is 32 force damage.
Hold on, I want to check if... Okay, you would have missed on... You would have missed on 3 of them if you didn't have advantage. But, yeah, I'm dead.
Well, dead or unconscious?
I'm unconscious. Well, I've been dropped to 0 hit points.
Okay, so you're on death saves.
Yep.
As what they would see is the tendrils essentially start ripping into him, start coming out the other end, as Eidolon very casually lifts up his left hand, for the first time actually gesturing something, as he almost gestures for the tentacles to raise him into the air.
Hold on, I'm raging.
Yes. And?
Does that only drop me down to 1 hit point?
No.
No, what is that? Fuck.
You get that feature later on as a barbarian. That's like 13th level.
You're also not a half orc.
Oh, it's the half orc thing. That's it. Damn. God damn it! I'm not a good D&D player.
I mean, you're still learning. Like D&D takes ages to actually learn everything. I don't know everything yet. I still need to check my sheet for half of my monk bullshit.
Yeah.
So essentially what they'd see is the tendrils start ripping around, coiling around him. At this point, you can't even see Roderick as he's just covered in the tendrils, as Eidolon just raises up his hand and starts lifting his body into the air. I don't know how they feel about that, as they would start becoming showered in his blood as the tendrils start piercing into his skin. Actually, Paul, how much health were you on before that knocked you down?
28.
You were on 28?
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to do the math.
28 minus 32.
I'm trying to think would 3 of those have knocked him down.
No.
Cool. So he doesn't have any failed death saves from that. It was just a check. It was just the checking. I had to do a check.
Actually, you'd be on 1 failed death save, Paul.
1 failed death save.
Why is it 1 fail?
Because
out of curiosity, is it the damage?
Damage-wise, so they are 4 individual attacks, not cumulative damage, and 16 plus 6 plus 3 plus 5 is 30. And he was on 28, so the 2
then he's on
2 damage from another one.
He's on 2 fails from a crit because he's unconscious, and it's a melee attack.
Wait, is one of them a crit?
No,
it wasn't a crit, but if you're unconscious when you take a melee attack, it's a crit.
Yeah.
It's a crit, so you take 2 failed death saves.
That's one of the reasons Markusar died.
I can't believe 2 of my characters are going to die this way.
This way's a little bit more brutal.
Yeah, this was... I think Markusar had it easy in comparison to this.
I mean, Eidolon's going to make sure you feel all of this. The stun doesn't make you not feel anything.
Not only is it going to hurt, it's not only going to suck, it's going to hurt the entire time.
This is how I play with my favorite character. It's just I do this to every person he kills, not just the people he hates. So, I'm taking some relish in this.
A math 25 and a 23,
Shocking.
Craig.
Shockingly, both hit.
The other
Who
one
is this from?
Because it's 6. Brakatar.
Is this still with disadvantage?
With disadvantage, it is a 23 and a 25. And the other one's
Yeah,
a
they
40.
still hit.
We're
okay.
both gonna die.
Paul, my dice are looking out for you. They're letting you have some revenge.
I presume these are ranged attacks,
you have the
however,
luck
or
No,
these
they're not.
attacks.
These are melee attacks.
Oh, cool.
1, 2, 3, and 4. No, I need 1 dice. 2 attacks hit, so 1 dice. 1 dice less.
Math, yes. Shocking.
It's not my strong suit, okay?
I know.
10. No. Fuck. 15, 16, 20, 22. 22 piercing damage, and I need a constitution saving throw from you. Actually,
Okay.
2 of them.
So that's a nat 1 and a 18 plus 3, 21.
Cool. No, I need my book, because I forgot to take it out. Look at me being an unorganised GM.
That's our job, to be unorganised.
You're just rubbing off on
We're
me,
not-
Paul.
Yeah,
We're not allowed to have organization skills.
I'm a bad influence.
You are.
If I'm going down Eidolon, I'm taking you with me. And by me, I mean my boys.
I mean, I'm still looking pretty alright.
Oh god. If only I hadn't taken like 20 damage before the fight had even started.
I mean, if you'd have stopped raging, though, you'd have taken your frenzy exhaustion, which meant this would have gone a lot worse for you.
Yeah.
Because exhaustion's awful.
Wait, it can go worse than this?
Yeah? You could have been exhausted.
I'm literally 1 failed death save away from
Yeah. And I intend to inflict that on my turn.
as well. I don't even get a turn. None of these fuckers can heal me. Fuck's sake.
Unless
I
you
mean-
wrote a healer.
Technically,
No.
Brakatar can, but it might also poison you in the process.
And he's using his turn to attack me.
It's
Thanks,
not-
Brakatar.
And you need to go into here and check my rulings. Stay. Stay. I have too many pages. I feel very overwhelmed. I hate using poisoners. Okay, so Craig, I need a wisdom save from you.
Okay, interesting.
As you're now considered to be unconscious.
That is an 18.
Cool. So as Brakatar attacks you, you manage to dodge out of the way of his first one. The tendrils manage to hit it, but it seems that he's starting to get the hang of your fighting style, or at least the hang of the patterns of these tendrils, the patterns of this infection that seems to plague you, this magic that you can control. And he starts attacking with 2 daggers, where he manages to cut you, graze you with the first one, but You can feel the ichor from his blade try to seep into your body, and it doesn't really do anything. He manages to almost spin around on the second one and gets you deeper, almost quite deep into the nervous system underneath your rib cage, and that's when you can almost feel it, like your heart skipping a beat. You almost catch a breath, and you feel the world start to spin before you fall unconscious.
So what was the wisdom save for?
That will come into play momentarily.
Interesting.
Well, Eidolon unconscious isn't a good thing.
Yeah, I think they're all about to die.
As I need some checks. He's your best bet.
I've still got plenty of hit points, by the way.
I know. As
Stop flexing, God.
Paul, you are now stabilized and have 6 hit points.
Right.
You can almost feel it as Ingrid is kind of helping you up. Gregor is patching you up, and you can almost taste the sour, almost scent of chewing tobacco in the back of your gums, almost like tar, as Braktar's probably fed you some of his plants just to try and speed up your recovery or speed up your consciousness. You can see Eidolon on the floor. He is unconscious. You can see the tentacles almost writhing. They're still kind of moving, even though he himself is not. He is still breathing weakly, but it's almost kind of gross, as it's almost like an octopus out of the water, where you can still see them flailing and moving and trying to crawl, with the infection almost crawling with it.
Yucky.
Could I have chosen to fail that to let it take control?
Yeah, if
So
not.
I'm going unconscious. If I'm going unconscious, I would have let it take control because it can continue living when I'm not.
Cool.
If that changes that.
No, it doesn't. You're still unconscious for now.
Yeah, but it isn't.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm riding off of.
Eidolon is seemingly unconscious, and Braktar looks injured. He's not worse for wear. Kind of looks down at you. How you feeling?
Not dead.
Yeah, you'd look better dead though.
I heard Ingrid make that joke earlier.
I mean, is she wrong though?
Fair point. What do we do now? Do we kill him? You saw what he did downstairs.
I can't always make the decisions, as he kind of looks at the three of you. What did the three of you want to do?
We're not getting any money from him, are we?
And if we do, none of us are going to be alive to see it.
I say. Now hear me out. We take what we can and run.
Ingrid kind of looks at you. What, and leave him alive to hunt us down?
Maybe we can chain him up a bit before we leave, but you saw he almost made mincemeat of all of us. And mincemeat of all those downstairs, and he didn't even have a fucking weapon.
Can you give me a perception check, Roderick? Ah, that's awkward.
He finally sees something.
Not that he sees something, he'll hear something. Who actually has the lowest HP at the moment?
Roderick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
Me?
Not on you, no. You're slightly too inconvenient.
I live to be a nuisance.
It's mostly because you're currently being covered by your friends, which makes you a slightly worse target for attacks.
Okay.
Which would set that as 26. As for yourself, Roderick, you are able to hear, just as they're kind of talking about helping you get up and start executing the kind of general plan, you hear the clicking of heels against the wood. Similar to what you heard before downstairs, though obviously there was no person there. You can hear them get that little bit faster, where not too far afterwards you see Braktar with a sword through his side. A very, very thin, almost black piece of metal that doesn't really seem to leave much trace, but is enough to pierce not only through his sinew and his bone, but also through his leathers.
Do I see someone holding the blade?
Your kind of vision will blink. He will kind of obviously double over in his side as the blade is retracted, and you almost see this burst of black flame kind of engulf him ever so slightly. as behind him is a figure that you're probably quite annoyed with, as kind of wiping off the fire and blood from his blade is Azamir, as he kind of just clicks a few paces, looks at Brakatar, looks him up and down. That should have killed. Oh, that made things a bit more awkward.
The Brakatar's still up, despite getting a blade right through his side.
Yep. Didn't hit anything. I mean, he's not looking great, I'll tell you that, but he's not looking dead. So,
currently, I'm out of my rage ended because I was knocked unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
I was frenzied. So now I'm exhausted. I've only used one rage.
Yes.
I can rage again. Actually, I can rage. What level are we?
3 more times. You have 4 rages, which means you have 3 left.
I do, but that doesn't counteract the disadvantage.
It's only disadvantage on like ability checks, I think.
It gives me advantage. It gives me advantage on strength checks, so it just cancels out. It's just a straight roll.
You're on a neutral roll at that point.
I guess I will rage again in a frenzy.
Shocking.
And point at Asimir is like, "You owe me fucking money." And
the important things.
Of course. And I would attempt to bring my warhammer clean down on top of his head. Big bonk.
Cool, give me an attack roll.
Okay, but I don't have advantage, so it's just a plus.
Well, I mean, you can reckless to give yourself advantage.
But that gives me disadvantage on everything else, and I already have disadvantage on...
Well, no, he has advantage on attacks against you, is what reckless does. You have advantage on attacks, and then for the rest of the time, people have advantage on attacks against you.
That is interesting. God, I should have looked up this character before I played him.
Barbarians are fun. I would recommend them.
Can you send me Eidolon's updated sheet quickly, Craig, if you can?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. I forgot I don't actually have his 8th level sheet.
You won't need features, though.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, fuck it. I'll do it recklessly. Because fuck this guy. I don't have +2 to attacks. I just saves and checks.
Send it on Facebook, Craig, because I can't sort Discord without fucking up my OBS. That will hit.
Great. And could it's only my first one that I get advantage on, but I will attempt to smack him 2 more times.
You have advantage on all attacks.
Mm-hmm. Reckless is still the end of your turn.
No, I thought. Wait, what was I reading?
I don't know what you're reading, Paul.
When you make your first attack in your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly, giving you advantage on melee attack users during this turn. Great, I will just reroll. Reroll.
Oh, Paul.
22. Reroll. Okay, 3 hits.
That's 3 hits, yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, Paul.
Shush.
No.
Okay, so he takes 18 damage. Why 1 in 10? Like, why? Why did
I mean, at least you got a 10.
True.
2 more.
Come on, 3 in a row. Let's go.
Another 10 and a 1.
Aww.
3
1s.
Disappointing. Yeah, so in the sort of, I bring the first one down on his head, and then take it to the side, kind of like as it's down, and try and like swipe upwards with it, try and catch it in like the chest or the chin or something like that, and then bring the last one sort of down across him.
Can you give me
just like batting him about?
Can you give me a dexterity saving throw?
I have something about this.
Only if you see it coming.
Danger sense? You have advantage on dexterity throws against effects that you can see while not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. Can I see it coming?
Technically no, because it's a reaction.
You just can't catch a break.
Breaks not allowed.
No. Great.
There's a good chance this is going to knock you down again, Paul.
Swell.
Yeah, it does. As you take 7 fire damage.
Hellish rebuke.
As you bat him around, you bat him against a wall. He kind of hits up against the stonework and slides down to the floor. As you notice that in the edge of your hammer, there's almost just flickering black flames that, the moment he hits the ground, just seem to erupt and explode, sending you against the other wall. And you're now unconscious again. So
I've lost my rage. What happens when you have 2 points of exhaustion?
Your speed's halved.
Your speed is halved.
Great.
So I need
this is
to
going
make
so well.
some attacks. How many attacks can you actually make in one turn? Is it just 4, Craig? At the moment?
3 without a key point and 4 with a key point.
Okay, so it would just be 3 because you have no more key points left.
Where do I find the effects of exhaustion in the PHP?
So the PHP,
it's in conditions.
It's, in conditions right at the end. It's not actually listed. It's in its own little box in the corner. Because it has unique effects depending on what your level of exhaustion actually is.
So they all stack. So now I have disadvantage on ability checks and I'm half speed.
If you get 6, you die.
I mean, it looks like I'm gonna die anyway. Literally gets up and is just like, you owe me money, goes dead again. I dealt a lot of damage. I dealt 36, 50 damage in one hit. In one attack. One turn, sorry.
Roll me 2d4s, Craig.
That is a 3 and a 2.
As this will technically all occur whilst the two of you are unconscious. Roderick, make me 2 death saves.
2 death saves?
Yep.
My
monster manual, I bent a page.
Oh, woe is you.
The amount of damage this book has gone through. There's 2 fails. That's 2 fails, Paul.
Swell. Let's go.
I don't have to worry about making death saves because I'm not actually on. I'm just unconscious. I'm not dying.
As Craig, you are, I guess, not resurrected, but you are brought back to some degree.
Consciousness.
To a state of consciousness, to a, I guess, a rather awkward sight, as the tower is now in quite a state of disarray. You're not too sure how long you've been unconscious for. It doesn't appear to be that long, though, as the light levels outside have not changed, and you don't feel sore, like you don't feel like you've been lying on the ground for too long. The sight in the tower, however, has changed, as it is in a state of chaos. You see Roderick smacked against one of the walls. He still seems to be faintly breathing. The dwarf woman seems to have disappeared. She's not there. Her weapons, however, are on the floor. There's a good chance she probably turned tail and ran, as you're not too sure if the blight had taken hold of you or whether the tendrils just almost erupted from you, as the body of Brakatar, so the orc man, and the body of Gregor, the human man, seems to be in shreds.
Similar to the ones downstairs, or what I leave?
What you leave.
Good enough.
What strikes you as a bit strange when you're actually up and moving is the person that seems to have brought you up more awkwardly backing away, seeing your eyes flickering open, is when it comes to, you can see Azamir.
Take it he's not happy I'm here then.
No. I didn't think I'd have to help, but...
You didn't? As Eidolon more just looks confused.
Yeah, I could see that after.
Eidolon more just sighs, walks over to Roderick's body, noticing he's the only one who's still breathing. Is his warhammer nearby?
Yeah.
Eidolon, being proficient in warhammers, reaches down.
You bitch.
Picks it up, just weights it. It's a little bit heavier than he expects at first. Leans it to the side, almost takes a slight golfing stance. As he just raises up the warhammer, and if he's slumped up against the wall, just attempts to crush in his head against the wall.
Attack roll with advantage.
I'm proficient, so I can use my dex with this warhammer actually, because I can consider it a monk weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, what a little bitch you are.
Oh, cry about it in death. That's a non-nat 20.
Is it? I can't see it on the roll 20.
Yeah.
Scroll down.
There it is.
For me.
It took a little bit of time to reappear for me.
I was taking it.
Yeah,
no, the DM didn't see it. You have to reroll.
Reaches up.
I mean, I see it now.
Re-roll it. Yeah,
no, it's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine.
Oh, totally. I missed Paul. Imagine if that was my attack roll.
What fucking horseshit.
What's horseshit, Paul?
Just the fact that you re-rolled it and then you got like a 3 and a 2. Like, that's so shite.
Those are also just shit rolls just in general.
Yeah.
Like, imagine rolling a 3 and a 2 on advantage. That would be like failing a death save with advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, so colorful, yes.
Yeah, as Roderick, you are now dead.
What? How do I die? Just like, is there even a head there?
Nope.
No.
I'm just a puddle of blood now.
There is a broken shoulder, a broken collarbone, and a nice tenderized collection of bone and sinew against the stone wall.
Well, it's been an honor.
I'll take the holster that he was using for his warhammer off of his corpse and sling it on myself, because I do not currently have my sheath for my sword. As not turning to Asmir, instead like essentially looking towards my palm, as the tendrils of course will be receding at this point, the arms have ran out.
Yep.
As more talking to myself but outwardly talking, I don't think... No, I'll talk inwards rather than outwards. Asmir is here. I'll get him to see where they are. I owe you one. Will more just shake my hand?
You need to find some resistance to those poisons. They make me clumsy.
It certainly sounds like I've already found a resistance. Don't worry, I'll just start drinking them casually. As I'll more just stand up, look at Asmir. What? Surely you've got places to be?
I do.
You know he's going to kill you.
Whether I stay or whether I go, he will kill me. At least if I stay, I know it will just be me he kills.
Eidolon more just shrugs. At least you're taking the honorable way out. I can give you that. I wouldn't have assumed it from you when I first met.
Perhaps you shouldn't be so quick to judge people.
There's few people who deserve an honor like that.
Perhaps there are more
Listen,
than you think.
If he kills you, just let it happen. Too many so far have tried having the last word. It's not worth it.
I know.
Now go on, find your solace.
He kind of gives you a nod. You see him sheath his blade. A blade that was very decorative once, though it seems that its status is quite deceptive.
I presumed.
As he kind of starts heading down the stairs, stops and kind of turns around. I am sorry.
You don't know me, so you don't need to be.
Yes, but comparing you to him, you're the one that deserves an apology.
Eidolon would more just essentially just shake his hand. Don't keep him waiting.
He kind of heads back down the stairs, and you can hear the heel of his boot eventually disappear as it moves from stonework to grass.
I'm gonna move back over to Roderick's corpse. More gesturing to the head. That was for my sake. But, as Eidolon would just take one of his feet and just kick in his ribcage. That was for Rand's mum. As it's menial, so I won't essentially drag this on doing something extraordinarily menial, but I would go through this place and... You see, my hope is that those 3 idiots are on the way here, so I don't want to leave here in a hurry. So I'm going to loot this place. Including the bodies of all of them.
Roderick, what do you have on you?
I closed off my character sheet because I didn't think I would need it anymore.
Well, he's looting your
Money,
body!
money,
I need to know
money.
how much money you have.
I don't even know how much money I have.
Yeah, I always wanted to give you a kick for free, Paul.
You're a bitch.
Thank
But
you.
you know what? I deserved it.
Thank you.
Uh,
I mean, blame M. She could have just had me die there.
That is true.
according to D&D Beyond, the app I used to have my character sheet in, I have 10 gold on me.
Cool.
I'll take that.
So you'll get 10 gold from Roderick. You would get about 40 gold collectively from the corpses.
You also get
56 gold.
you can also get a playing card set from me.
Actually, you jest, but I'll take that. Because fucking Wulfric has one, but I don't.
Oh shit! Well, you have my cards.
Thank you. Oh wait, they're just all 3 of diamonds. If I remember the last session right.
You have my water skin, which doesn't have any water in it,
Has
Fuck
alcohol.
yeah.
and my warhammer. Obviously, you have that.
I'm actually keeping that, either to sell or to actually use. I want to keep this because it's a 2d10.
It's a 2d10 warhammer. I'd keep that shit.
Dwarven steel warhammer. Thank you.
As From the rest of the tower, you are obviously able to find your ring, you're able to find your bracelet. They are kept within lockboxes, as well as a few other personal effects that were either meant for trade and selling purposes, or things that they've kind of pilfered and then we're going to sell on.
You managed to open the lockboxes with his newfound warhammer. Oh, is that a lock? It'd be a shame if someone could do a 2d10.
Smash! I would probably just sell most of these back in Kinreen, so if you just want to give me a gold value for that, like a cumulative, then I'll just take it down as that.
Cumulative, if you're selling everything, obviously not your own effects, as well as a few extra coin pouches that are kept within this more treasury style area, you would get about 100 gold.
I have 156 gold.
The only other things that I guess would maybe be of interest in this room are obviously the herbalism and poisoners kits that Brakatar would use, if you want to pick up those as well.
Do you know what? Why not? I'll take the herbalism and poisoners kits. I'm not proficient in them, but I can sell them off.
Take what you can, give nothing back.
So you said that there was lots of alcohol down in the storeroom.
Yeah.
How easy would it be to fix that to blow?
Pretty. It's moonshine.
Yeah. I've got tinder boxes.
Did you not destroy this enough on your escape?
Essentially, on my way down, remembering what I saw in the kitchen, I'll head in, push the door open, set up a few barrels, mainly in this room, because this appears to be rather central, so this will keep up a few of the walls.
Yeah.
Set a few basic trails, and as I'm leaving out the kitchen, strike, leave, and with a rather brisk walk, leave out of the tower.
Guys, don't look at explosions. You say it's cool, but I think it's very reckless of you to start a large-scale fire in a heavily wooded area, Eidolon. That's kind of questionable. I don't think Rand's going to take too kindly to that.
And?
I don't know. Maybe
the main reason I'm doing...
Maybe a druid character who you haven't seen in a while wouldn't be taking kindly to that.
The main reason I'm doing this is that this is a stone building, which means the only brunt force that the outside world will sustain is the force, essentially, from the pressure of the explosion. The fire will be kept inside, where the wood is.
Fair enough.
I see your stone walls.
Yes.
As for this, though I can't really say goodbye to anyone because the boys are sticking around for the second half of this session as well, as Roderick is now dead. Very dead. It's not even like Markusar levels of dead, he's just paste. And Eidolon, you obviously leave, destroying the remains of the ruins of the Unfortunate Sons, as well as pilfering as much as you could carry in quantitative gold. Where do
noticing...
I was about to ask, where do you go afterwards?
So essentially, after the explosion goes off, I would essentially wait maybe about like 10, 20 minutes, being like, okay, if they're on their way, they'll have seen that.
No.
You'll wait like another like 5 minutes, and it's like, okay, they're not coming, are they?
You're getting into the early evening, and they've still not shown up.
Eidolon lets out a heavy sigh, as he doesn't really know Myrr that well. Would this be considered a short rest, by the way?
If you're waiting, this would be a short rest, yes.
Cool. It's just for the key points. I guess... I mean, this is a place where they lived. I guess I'll try find a track near their main entrance and see if that leads me back to any main road.
Give me a survival.
This is when I'm just stuck in the woods. If I find my way back, though, just for note, I'll be making my way back to Frida's house. Yeah. That's the only main area I actually know in Kinrain. 14. Okay, that's not too bad.
As we end this session with, or end this half of the session with, a dead Roderick, Eidolon with as much gold as I think he's ever accumulated his entire life, as he leaves
56.
the burning ruins behind and makes his way back to Kinreen, where I wonder where my other 3 boys are at this point in time.
I'm sorry, Paul, blame him.
No, I'm fine.
I mean, to my knowledge, you've got a character back, so you don't need to worry about not having a character.
Yeah. I'm gonna let everyone in on a little secret. I expected him to die. That's why I was being very reckless with everything I was doing. I didn't particularly care as much about this one. I wonder
why.
I kind of knew he was just like a lease on the main until I got the main character back.
To be fair, this was just a convenient time for you to die anyway.
Yeah.
Because Markusar's just come back.
I did what I'd do. Oh hey Roger. Oh hey Markusar, how are you? Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, yeah. Do all that kind of.
Start DMing Paul, and that's your entire life.
Yeah, just talking
Oh,
to yourself.
Yeah.
We will cut to break as I fix my OBS and sort up the setup for the second half of the session, where if the two of you want, you can go and get some water and take a break. I will grab the boys for the second half. But for now,
The boys.
we will see you all later.
I get to be silent for the next like half hour.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how proficient my boys are as we come back from break. And yeah, back to usual setup, back to usual layout. I have all 4 of my boys here. I'm obviously not going to say what happened prior to the break. It was certainly chaotic.
Chaotic is one word. Another word is
Profitable.
red.
Chaotic is what we do best.
Very, very red.
As yeah, we are back to our usual layout, back to our usual setup for at least the foreseeable future.
Until Markusar dies again.
Yeah, and I have to change the layouts and draw another character art and God knows what else. But
Find
for
another
now,
way to bring him back.
as Matthew, do you remember what your portents are?
8, 13, and 18.
Cool, thank you, because they weren't correct and I needed to change them, but I couldn't remember what they are.
Also, can I interrupt just 1 second?
No.
Mainly because I said it to Em and Paul before, but for Ewan and Matthew, I might just have to dip out at random
Oh yeah.
during this.
Your phone call.
Because I'm expecting a phone call today. It still hasn't happened.
It's the one from like the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one from yesterday.
Still not occurred. I don't know if that's the right way round for them. They're probably not, but we'll go with that and we'll see what happens. As kind of mini recap, at least mostly for my boys, I've given a larger recap of the first half of what actually happened. Just to kind of catch you guys up to speed on where the fuck you actually are. You're in the middle of nowhere. You are now up to speed. The 3 of you have been obviously wandering Myrr. You've been following the trails of this more serpentine, draconic amalgamation, following its tracks now for a while. However, there is no sign of Eidolon, there is no sign of Gairdra, and there is no sign of this serpentine dragon. The trail seems to just continue further and further into Myrr, leading you through the thick foliage of the woods, where this thing, despite not supposedly being near Myrr for long, definitely seems to have been quick in terms of how much ground it has been able to cover.
Thing's fucking fast.
As you're kind of tracking, Wulfric obviously taking the helm, keeping it silent in its tracks, the 3 of you have, I guess, a little bit of time of silence, if there's anything you want to do with one another. If not, that's also fine.
Did we remember the dart?
The dart! And Markusar like smacks his head. Did I pick it up when we found it under the bed?
You never told me. It went on the bed
No.
because you didn't want to obviously get any of the toxins on you. So if anything, that dart is still currently sitting in the spare room of Frida's house on the
Yeah,
bed.
there's just like the dart, and then it just like cuts away. It's like, oh shit, we forgot it.
Markusar,
Cuts to
where's
like
the
a
dart?
Markusar,
Drake, where's the door?
Markusar. Where's the dart?
Where's the dart? I outlined it here in my bag, but it's not in your bag.
Just hopefully Frida doesn't touch the dart that's on a bed.
Hopefully it doesn't leak toxins into her fucking upholstery. Upholstery? Cover sheets. Fuck, I don't know words. You know what I mean?
English student.
You know what I mean?
English student.
I described foliage, I don't have to describe bed linens. There we fucking go. That's the
What?
word I was looking for.
I'll shut up.
I left it on Eidolon's bed. You reckon we should have probably asked about that at the caravan yard?
No, I think it's perfectly fine that there was a poison dart under. Of course we should have fucking asked.
Okay, well,
However, I was single-mindedly focused on the fact that one of our party members was missing.
do we want to bail on this whole snake?
Can you not turn into a bird or something? Can you not fly back and get it?
Out of character. I haven't wild ship before. You would know I could do that. I'm waiting for the right RP moment.
He wants to finally use his abilities when it feels right for him to finally use his abilities.
Well, I was going to, but then some fucking fighter killed me. No, let's not bring it up again. We could bail on the whole snake endeavor and go see about that dart. Though I don't know which way. Do we know which way we came from, or are we kind of lost?
you'll kind of be able to track your way back. Thankfully, you do have Ranaagash with you, and Myrr is his territory, so you will be able to path your way back somewhat if that is kind of your decision to do.
What are we thinking?
Well, darts don't have legs.
That's
So
racist.
that dart
Well
probably,
observed.
That dart probably isn't going anywhere.
So we continue with the snake.
So we continue to find the snake, because if we find the snake, we find Eidolon, and I really hope he's not fucking dead.
Are we sure we want to follow the snake?
Have you got something? Are you scared of snakes? Is that why you're like, let's not follow the snake? Because I mean, it's a really big snake.
It is a pretty big, like little snakes. Sure, I'd be fine, but it's a big snake.
I mean, we fought big things as well. We fought really big wolves. It's not like they're any less deadly than a regular.
But they look
wolf.
slimy, but they're not slimy. It's kind of weird.
I should never have relied on these people to try find me. What was I thinking?
At least one of us wants to fucking find you. One of us is like, let's go back. One of us is let's go forward. One of us has been radio silent for most of this conversation.
Call out post!
I imagine Ranaagash has been fucking disassociating at the back of the fucking party.
Or what a fucking snake is.
He's a,
Myrr's too cold for snakes. Probably.
You might get a couple of them in the summer, but they're definitely not a common sight, and you definitely see them more towards the south of Myrr.
and there'll be grass snakes and stuff, right? They won't be like cobras.
Giant snakes. Is there giant snakes
giant
native to
snakes.
Myrr?
No, you'd
Fucking-
probably find a giant snake closer to Halden.
Yeah.
Did you know that grass snakes and cobras are actually very closely related?
Yeah, I heard one of them married in the notes.
Continue the game. Play the video game.
So, Ran, you're the deciding vote. Do we go back and see about the dart? Because that was a pretty strong lead that we kind of just ignored. Or do we go after the big snake because Wulfric has a big hard-on for killing stuff?
He also has a point about that dart not going anywhere.
I
Snake
like how I repeatedly hammered home the fact that our friend is missing, and you took away from that I wanted to kill a big snake. I can see your listening comprehension skills haven't improved any.
I see the two dots. They're not connected.
I've connected them. You haven't connected shit. I've connected them.
Big snake it is. I want to look for snake trail. No wait, we're already kind of following a trail. Like we saw a trail, but it's kind of like slithering in between the trees,
Yep.
right? Okay. I guess we just keep following that.
Hey, this now explains why I was waiting outside the ruins for a while.
As can the three of you give me perception checks?
I don't.
Oh.
Right,
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go. 21.
9.
Okay. Wulfric, you're kind of a bit too focused on the tracks, a bit too focused on the trails, kind of pushing through the woods, trying to find that little bit more. Markusar and Ranaagash, you are a little bit more clued into this as you get further into Myrr, and it starts to break into that kind of late evening time where the red hues start to fill the skies, where as you're pushing through, continuing to following the snake's tracks, you begin to see amongst the brush and scattered under the undergrowth of the forest, you start to see a number of bodies, a number of orcish bodies. That at once, as you start to push away some of the bushes, some of the shrubbery, at one point would have perhaps been hunters, as they are in those traditional garbs that, at least for Ranaagash, are somewhat familiar. However, at one point you might have been able to recognise these fellows. They are unrecognisable. Their bodies are completely mangled, bones broken, some organs have been removed, probably eaten and destroyed as the flesh and sinew has been completely shredded. There's parts of them somewhere, and you can find parts of similar orcs or even the same orc strewn across the wood and another part of the brush as if it's been almost bitten, chewed, torn apart and just spat out and thrown. Every single one of the bodies seems to have almost blackened flesh, this pulsating purplish, reddish tint to it that seems to come with the blighted infection. Some of their veins seem to be almost pulsing with a weak green colour that has been seeping into the forest floor and starting to kill and decay the forest around them, though it never seems to travel very further than the rotting corpses, as it seems to be very much tied to a living host, as it doesn't seem to be able to travel much further, as obviously the bodies aren't alive to move it forward. Markusar, one of the things that you noticed with your 21 just above, I guess, the carnage, is also the fact that where you seem to be exploring, where you seem to be moving from, seems to be a central point for this beast to move. You're not too sure which direction it was travelling when it attacked these people, and even if it attacked all of them in the same bunch, or if it's attacked multiple groups in the same location, as here the tracks seem to collide and become very, very muddled to the point where if you continue following them, you might end up be walking around in circles for a very long time.
I know I said it earlier, but I think, guys, we should really go back. This does not look good.
Geralt, fuck.
Obviously, Wulfric, with that being brought to your attention, you can start to see parts of bodies starting to appear on the trail and at the side of the brush. Seeing this kind of carnage, as for most of them, with you being more of a military man, there's a good chance that these orcs didn't even stand a chance. A lot of them don't even have their weapons drawn, and if they do, their weapons were drawn more likely in a hunting sense than a fighting sense.
This is concerning.
Boys, I've cheated death twice now, and I don't wish to die a third time.
You won't die. But this is giving us a clue. Kinda heading in the right direction. Are there any notable landmarks in Myrr nearby? Particularly large trees. I'm asking Ran, like what he remembers. Particularly large trees, big rocks.
Very large.
Broken down buildings, stuff like that.
Would there be?
The-
Where are we buildings?
The biggest thing you have to landmarks, unless you get closer to the eastern edge of Myrr, where there is a few ruined buildings, because that's kind of like civilization's just kind of been taken over by the woods again, you don't tend to go there. The only thing that you have in terms of landmarks would be orcish trail markings, like the carvings on trees that you guys have to mark danger, mark hunting grounds, notches to start dictating how close you are to the borders of the encampment, as well as small foraging or outposts, some of which you have seen, but it's not out with the standards of these being traditional hunting grounds. You've not seen any markers for the encampment yet, and you've not seen any markers for any outposts yet.
There's a few markings around, but nothing significant really.
You said we don't really know where the snake went because of this area.
It seems to be that you can continue following the tracks you were following, but with your own perception check, you can kind of gather that they're probably going to bring you back here to some degree, as there are a lot of muddled tracks here.
I don't see much use in following these trails. They all seem to lead back here. I don't know these woods like I do Hilden. I fear we'd get lost.
I know these woods.
All the trails around here, they'll go off in all directions. I imagine they all just circle back to here.
Possibly.
Okay, let's waste an hour trying every single one as they all come back to here.
What's your plan then?
Go back for the dart. I feel like that was a lead that we just ignored.
No,
That's my bad. I left it on the bed. I'm gonna, Markusar, hand up. That was my bad. I will say, I'm only very recently back from the dead, so, cut me some slack. As off days go, I'm having a bad one.
Does someone here not have, like, the ability to magically locate someone?
I mean, do you want me to try looking for Eidolon again? See if he's within 1,000 feet of here?
Yes, that would be very helpful, thank you.
Okay. I can do that. I shall procure a rune of binding. Sure, whatever.
We're on our way. Have you got cardinal direction? Does it even if he's not within 1,000 feet, does it give you like a general idea?
Only if it's within 1,000 feet.
Well, it's not ideal. Is he within 1,000 feet?
Right now.
How fucking big is this forest?
It's the biggest forest on the map! Also, 1,000
That's
feet.
very big.
1,000 feet's only 0.1 of a mile.
I have no context of how distance measurements work.
I'm slowly getting a hang of them. It's why I googled how big 1,000 feet is in miles, because technically you might have been able to pick up something, but not with the distance you would have walked. I mean, you could divine, Matthew. You do have divination.
Is divination useful for this?
You ask about a specific goal, event, or activity to occur within the next 7 days, and yes, it might not be a truthful reply because it's Sinmaya you're asking, but he has to give you a response of something.
I'd have to figure out what to ask. It's a case of just ask it, is following these tracks worth it? Save us an hour.
That is up to you if you want to whip out your book and give him an ask.
We haven't. I don't think we've used the book nearly as much as we could have.
Considering you can ask the book literally anything, and at the beginning of this you could have just asked, hey, where's Eidolon?
Forget about it. He's only utility, and we fight things so much that he doesn't have a lot of uses. He's very niche, and so I just forget about him.
But you are very niche. That's why I gave you him.
I'm also aware. I'm aware. I didn't say I wasn't.
I gave him to fit your niche.
Do we have any other ideas other than sit here and twiddle our thumbs, or go back for the dart?
No, I'm going to be truthfully honest. I have no magical way of determining where he's gone.
Unless I'm considered your steed.
No.
I don't want to think about the implications of that.
I honestly don't see us getting anywhere trying to follow these trails. I'd say we just go back.
Are you really sure there's no, like, big scary cave nearby that a dragon would definitely want to live in? Dragon, snake, whatever.
Would there be caves around? I wouldn't. Shh. Let me finish what I'm doing first. I don't think there would be many caves in Myrr, would there? Because it's like forested.
There would maybe be some near the coast, but where you are roughly, even if you've not found any sites of the encampment yet, they're probably about a day's journey through the woods. So you're...
The name voice.
That maybe be a bit far out.
They'd be right down by the coast. I think that's probably too far for what we're looking for, considering he only went missing last night.
And a snake can't even use a dart, so...
Doesn't that weird book you have tell you stuff about people?
Yes.
It tells you stuff about me.
Yeah, I can hack
surely
at something.
It can tell you where Eidolon's gone.
And certainly try. Can I just like whip out Sinmaya and just like do what I did with Wulfric, but with him, and see what it says? See if it gives us anything more specific than in the forest.
That smile, that's all she's gonna tell you.
So, as Sinmaya did with Wulfric, it starts to write out Eidolon's life.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Recent stuff. You know. Skim over it.
You kind of start to skim to his more recent stuff.
I hope it doesn't pick up any just like awkward, I would say high school moments, but I didn't go to high school.
There is I say awkward high school moments, things that catch Ranaagash's eye as he's skimming through the book. A long list of names that seems to... The reason it catches your eye is it lasts maybe 2 or 3 pages before they disappear. Then there seems to be a almost documentation of a court-martialing, where it then goes on to some more of his life. You then find his wedding documents, the date of his marriage, and, you know, him getting his first house, that sort of thing, and it skims through again, and...
It's a fixer-upper, you know. But they really put their work back into it.
You find Eidolon's family tree, with obviously him and Ferith. The thing that catches your eye with that is there is no sudden connection for a child. You know Ferith to be pregnant, but there is no record of them having a child in Sinmaya's histories. And then obviously you get into perhaps a few months later where there is essentially a year of his life that's missing until you start to pick it back up. And this is when I guess it gets interesting. as when it separates that year of his life to probably the more recent stuff, Sinmaya's text, rather than being straight lines across the page, starts to dip, and the ink starts to almost become spread out and blotchy, and it starts to trail off the page, spiraling and running around as if the words are there, but there is almost something else being stitched into them, making them almost incomprehensible, like that stupid thing you guys usually do on Messenger.
Doggo text.
Where you can, at least for perhaps the past 4 months, Eidolon's been travelling, at least certainty in your mind he's been travelling, you can't read anything about him. It is entirely incomprehensible. As you can kind of almost hear Sinmaya, as you're flicking through the pages, going, well, that's never happened before. I guess you're useless. Well, I'm useless, but that makes you use. We're both useless.
Yes. Afraid nothing this book says from recently is understandable. So, the Eidolon's past and our present is unavailable to us. But perhaps we can try a different approach as I check the wording on divination.
You ask
I like
me
how
a
you guys
question,
just
I tell you an answer.
just wandered into the forest and now we're just casting spells with a book. What a plan.
Do you have a better plan, Mr. Non-Spellcaster?
I don't have a plan because I'm not there.
Exactly. So shut up and let me use my book.
I didn't realize me and Paul were actually doing... Like, I thought what happened between me and Paul was chaotic.
Hush you. You are here on privilege basis.
You could have told me to just not come.
Yeah, but I need you for the end of the session.
Yeah, we get there.
You'll get there eventually, Matthew. What are you asking, Matthew?
I was thinking.
We don't
I'm
have
trying
all
to-
night.
I'm aware. Right. Any suggestions? What do we want to ask? What do we want to save ourselves the trouble of finding out ourselves?
So, how do you ask it? How do you have to phrase it? Is it like something that has happened or will happen, or the location of something?
That's one thing about something we wish to do within the next week, and we get a reasonable answer to the best of the book's ability. Ability. It's not an insane.
Where do we find Eidolon?
How many times can you ask this question?
Just
Is it a
once.
yes or a no answer?
Where in the world is Eidolon Daedalus?
It's just an answer.
There's a nice little fourth wall break right there.
Which direction will take us to Eidolon Daedalus the fastest?
Which direction will lead us to finding Eidolon the fastest?
I mean, you could turn around and follow those conveniently shaped footholes you made on the way here.
Alright then.
What, you asked me a question and that's the fastest way to him?
Going back the way we came.
Yeah.
We're going back the way we came. I said that an hour ago.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I mean, if you wanted to know sooner, the angry man could have just asked me sooner.
Am I allowed to talk to the book? Is that how this works? Am I hearing the book talk, or can only you hear the book talk?
Only Ran can hear the book talk.
You know, only me.
It's a very one-sided conversation on our end.
Fucking hate magic. Fucking bullshit. Fucking. Doesn't make
At least he still hates magic.
Religious-based magic, based. Arcane magic, cringe.
He's got it.
Cringe
Worked it
wizard
out.
bullshit. Fuck that. I'm empowered by my oath.
Alright then, I guess we go back the way we came,
We're going to get the dart.
if we must.
Some fucking book. Oh no.
Let's head back then.
Is this what happens when I'm not in the party?
Yes.
Unfortunately, so
As for the three of you, you guys head back, following your trail.
Big boom.
Not quite yet.
That's fine.
I do need the three of you to make me a perception check, though, as you are slowly starting to come back to the borders of Myrr. Nope. You rolled a 24, Paul?
I'm +7 to perception.
Damn. It's not bad.
I keep forgetting Markusar's actually decent at perception now that he's an elf. Markusar, you're the only one to notice it, as it seems to be quite off in the distance, though you yourselves are still quite far into the distance, where there seems to be quite a loud banging noise coming from somewhere in Myrr.
Banging, like
Boom.
boom. Would I look for an explosion or smoke or something to that degree?
As you start, or as you keep walking towards the kind of forest edge or back along the trails, you do see smoke, but nothing really else.
I point to the smoke and say to Ran and Frick's like, is there any chance that'll be our monk?
Either this or the dart.
We'll get the dart on the way there.
Like, irregardless, we cause trouble wherever we fucking go. It's probably Eidolon. Let's get going.
Alright.
But are we swinging by to get the dart?
We will get the dart when we get the dart.
We'll get there when we get there.
We'll get McDonald's when we get home.
McDonald's at home.
We have McDonald's at home. McDonald's at home.
Single dart.
Markusar is literally that child that's like, are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? Yes. Really? No.
I finally figured out
Could you
Eidolon.
not be yourself?
No, I
Fine.
finally figured out Markusar and Wulfric's dynamic. For the longest time, I could never figure it out, and now I've put the label on it that it is Shrek and Donkey.
Okay.
You literally have a steed, a mystical steed, Snapdragon, who is a donkey.
Do you guys kind of cut the trail and head towards the smoke plumes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. You kind of follow them, or at least try to follow the direction of them to some degree. Ranaagash, you kind of take a lead a little bit. This is a bit of Myrr you're a little bit more familiar with, as it's getting towards the trails and main roads that lead from Kinreen to the encampment. However, you are not too far from the break in the glade, so one of the main roads that lead through Myrr towards Kinreen, where as you would break from the road to go and obviously trail and find the smokestacks, you find, I guess, a relatively strange sight. As walking his way back from presumably somewhere in the woods to Kinreen by the looks of things, kind of following the trails semi-closely, is Eidolon. Though, strangely enough, he seems to be with a warhammer strapped to his back. As coming from the other side of the trail, Eidolon, you see Wulfric and Ranaagash, and someone else.
So, not taking into account the other person so far, automatic assumption would be maybe an orcish hunter they've employed, something like that. Eidolon would more just shout out with just a single hand pressed against his forehead. Where the hell have you been?
Where have we been? Where have you been?
Does this explain it? As he'd take the warhammer off his back with one hand and hold it in the air.
What in the goddamn?
Would we recognize this warhammer?
Yeah, it looks a lot like Roderick's warhammer.
What in the fuck just happened?
Do you want the long of it, Wulfric, or the short of it?
Yes.
How do you not work out that a band of mercenaries who are openly hostile against the people of this town have kidnapped me in the night? What else could it look like?
There was a dragon. We thought you'd been taken by a really big lizard.
Okay, I will let you off the hook as long as you can tell me, with honesty, Wulfric, that there was no sign of human interaction in that room.
Just slowly turn to Markusar.
I peep out and be like, there was a dart.
There was a Give me a second, I know what I'm doing here. As it would be more just the snappy, the recognizing of the voice along with the group, allowing it to just pass over his head temporarily. There was a dart! As, give it a second, the thought will process in his head, don't worry, I'm not glossing over it.
We did get distracted by the dragon tracks.
Good thing you didn't get distracted as he pointed the smokestack over me blowing up the place!
Markusar's alive again.
Hello.
Distraction.
Eidolon more just slows down for a second, as he'd more just slowly turn his gaze over to where Markusar is. Is he now?
Yeah. I came all this way to see you and you didn't even greet me.
Primarily because I thought it'd be impossible for you to get back.
I thought so too, but I was...
What, being dead and all in a church in West Cross?
I was brought back by the priestess. As you can see, he hasn't took to me well. You was seeing that Markusar is a bit more pale and gaunt than he was before.
Wulfric, Ran,
Yes.
feel free to make your own way back to Kinrain for just a second.
Alright.
Like, I'm tugging on like Ranaagash's cloak, like, don't leave.
As you can almost see Eidolon just slowly starting to raise up his left hand, just sort of like fidgeting ever so slightly with each of his fingers.
Do Wulfric and Ran, do you leave and may go on your merry way?
Guys, he's killed one character before this. Don't leave me alone.
I'm already one Paul down. What's two?
Right. Ranaagash, do you want to go and we can help tidy the room that got fucked up?
Are you going back for the dart?
Did he say that in game?
I said that in game.
Markusar,
Yes.
if you ask about that dart one more fucking time, I'm gonna shove it up your arse.
Yeah, I think the dart, and then turn to look at Eidolon, is the least of your worries right now.
Are you still staying here, or are you leaving?
I kind
That's
of
our-
want lunch. And then Wulfric just walks up.
As I'd more just call back to Wulfric, hey, as I'd take out the entire sack of 156 gold. As I'd more just toss over to Wulfric. Keep that safe for me.
He feels it briefly. He's like, okay,
This is
it's
heavy.
money. It's money. I thought it was organs.
What do you take me for? Never mind. Don't answer that question.
Literally standing in front of a burning building. What do you take me for?
As I'd more gesture for Markusar to walk with me as I start walking back to the ruins.
I sheepishly shuffle over to Eidolon.
As do I have the floor in?
Yeah. Well, actually, is Ran heading back with Wulfric, yeah?
Sort of briefly be like, try not to kill him, and then I'll head with Wulfric.
So,
You are alone in Myrr.
unless you say anything, Markusar, we walk in silence for maybe about a minute or two. I'm assuming that's the distance I got away because they did come looking for the burning building in. Is that roughly right?
Yeah, about.
So we essentially just get there.
Markusar's just like, ooh, nice warhammer. Where'd you get it?
He doesn't answer. Getting to sort of the tree line where we're still up against some trees, Eidolon sort of just stands quite close to one. More sort of just like essentially outstretching his hand, gesturing for you to come forward. More looking at the ruins.
Nice work.
I have to say, pretty proud of it. Got the warhammer from it too. Rather nice addition to my collection.
A fine addition to my collection.
You know, ended up having to tie up one loose end there. A few more ended up coming along too. And you know, on the topic, Paul, can you make me a dex save, please?
Oh, shit.
Oh, he is gonna kill him.
Well, it's been good, boys.
Let's
Pass or fail,
fucking-
I have an aesthetic.
Let's fucking go.
16.
16, that is a pass. So what you'd see instead is, if you look over to Eidolon, you'd essentially see him, he was just standing with his arms stretched looking at it, and when you look around to look at him again when he stops talking, he has his hand outstretched in front of you, and in the very same instance you see tendrils burst out of his arm and impale into the tree essentially around your body. Essentially if you look to the left, one has gone in right next to your neck, another's gone in like right next to your torso, like next to your legs, next to the other side. As it's almost just keeping you in place next to the tree. You're welcome to move aside, it's an aesthetic detail, but play along if you wish.
I don't know what you're trying to... I don't know what you're trying to do right now. I've lost.
You explain exactly how you came back right now, or I swear upon this smoldering ruin of a shithole, you are pushed into the fires with it.
Told you I was brought back by the priestess.
And why?
I don't know.
You don't... What, so she just brings you back and sends you out onto the road?
They weren't there when I came back. I assumed it was them. I'm wearing their linens.
So what? You just wake up, no one's there, and you just decide, whoop-de-fucking-do?
Obviously I have questions, but my concern was for you guys.
If you're not going to tell us everything, Markusar, I am going to kill you right now. We know exactly who is in Westcross. We knew who was still there when we left.
I don't know what you're implying.
I don't have my dagger at the moment, so instead it's just going to be see one of the tendrils sort of flail out slightly, sort of coming in from under, and I'm going to make an unarmed attack.
Wait.
I have my bracelets back too. Nice. 13. I miss.
No, you hit.
Oh, nice.
I'm squishy druid.
Not too much damage though. 7 force damage as one of the tendrils essentially rips itself out and impales into your left pectoral. As he more just lets it stay there.
I'm telling you the truth.
And struggle I may to believe that it was simply that convenient that you're here now.
What else could have brought me back?
You visibly see Eidolon start laughing. Markusar, those two might be idiots, but you're not standing in front of another one.
Sorry.
We've just traveled for the past 2 months with someone who has been manipulated by someone who has the ability to bring people back from the dead as puppets. And though you may not look like one, I can't struggle to believe that, you might have been brought back to be one. Either you finally give me a good excuse and try and make me believe your lies, or you start telling some truths.
Guess I'd put my hands up, but in such a way that my sleeves would fall down.
Curious?
I get what he's meaning. I
don't know what you're on about. I was brought back by the priest.
As Eidolon, as you see him do this, he's almost where your tendrils are. You can see that he's almost trying to worm his arms underneath it, very, very intentionally, trying to get his hands up. Kind of like that very much surrendering pose, where the green kind of leftovers of his old robes that he was wearing and the burial cloaks, his sleeve just slips down as he holds his hands up, and along his side from his palm onto his forearm, and as you're tracing it you can even see it on his neck. You see that his veins underneath his skin are green, and there are black, almost pulsating and almost serpentine marks on his arm that seem to be almost branded into his skin.
You almost just see Eidolon raise an eyebrow. Not considered this worth mentioning.
Don't know what you're on about. I am just here.
Markusar, you know he can't hear you right now.
Who can't hear me?
Markusar, that's not how these... I'm going to kill you. That's not how these brands work.
He said he could hear me.
And you just believed it?
I mean, I lead a cult, we'll believe anything.
Of course you will. I know that was out of character, don't worry. I know that was out of character.
I just assumed, I'd actually just saw him not an hour ago.
Alright, now tell me, no lies this time, or I will sever your head from its shoulders. Why are you here? And how are you back?
I woke up underneath the halls of the faith, surrounded by dead priests and priestesses, and he was there.
So what does he want from you?
He wants me to help you guys.
To what end?
I need to go over the contract again, hold on.
Where's the fucking terms of services? Where's the lease?
Check the small print.
He didn't really do that.
It says here, fuck over the party, yeah.
Oh boy.
See, it was in the fine print, didn't really read it. Should have looked at it. Just, I want to clarify with that Geardra was okay with Eidolon finding out.
So when you first made your agreement with him,
yeah.
Your concern was obviously keeping it from the party, because he explicitly told you not to tell anyone, and your concern was Eidolon. He then told you that if you were to tell anyone, he would be okay with you telling Eidolon, because he liked the idea of Eidolon having that paranoia. He did, however, also express that if anyone else were to find out, however, Halden might get a little bit toasty. And upon his prior meeting to you as well, those threats have become a little bit more tangible, as yeah, if you don't do what he says, it seems that people's heads are now on the chopping block. But he did give you, I guess, permission, in air quotes, is the best way to describe it for Eidolon.
I found my notes. I hadn't written as much, but yeah. I'm to help you, and in the end, bring you to him.
So, give me one good reason I shouldn't kill you now.
I don't want to help him, but if I don't, Hilton burns.
And well, that's your only leeway in this agreement.
I don't want to see my people die.
That wasn't my question. Is that it?
Yes.
I'm gonna insight that. Not anything so far. I think that's the one thing I'll be happy to insight. That's only a 10. 3 plus 7. Oh.
Two things when you do ask him. There is a sadness in him that when he does talk about that, he is genuinely concerned for Halden. He is genuinely concerned about his people. It seems that Gairdra has made that threat very, very tangible to him, and it's something that is almost plaguing the back of his mind. But he also can't look you in the eye when he says it.
Markusar, stop pretending I'm on the same level as him here. You clearly hate him. You already know I hate him. What are you intentionally missing out?
Let me think on this. Hold on.
I mean, I know Markusar's quest, so I can even ask directly about that if necessary.
If I help him, it will help the Green Hand achieve our goals.
Ask yourself this, Markusar. If what your goals are align with his, do you really feel those goals are worth striving for?
Not sure what his goals are. They seem solely focused on you.
His goals might be, but his goals are not.
I don't want to die.
And if you help him, everything you know, you, your Green Hand, Halden, and beyond that, everything in this world will die.
Okay.
That's what they want.
We can stop him, right?
Eidolon is conspicuously silent for a few moments.
I can't do anything directly to stop him, but I want to help you. Let me help. Help me help you.
I'm going to insight that, but I feel Markusar's telling the truth there.
I am telling the truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll anyway, but I had the suspicion you were already telling the truth.
Yeah. This is perhaps one of the most sincerest moments you've ever seen from Markusar.
Short of me being on my knees and pleading, yeah.
Yeah, if the tendrils weren't between your legs, then maybe.
The tendrils recede. Coincidental timing.
Thank you.
Then I need you to say one thing.
What?
Be honest. If you want him dead as much as we do at this point, you're going to have to tell. Well, maybe you can't tell the others, but you're going to have to tell me if something happens.
Keep you in the loop.
Is this related to your dream store, Markusar?
This is an in-character silence.
I made sure to keep this question for after I've asked you to be honest.
Yeah. You bitch. Maybe. I think the coward's way out. I didn't say yes or no.
Gairdra doesn't deal in maybes.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Actually, oddly fitting! Oddly fitting! Because if it is, Markusar, I'd recommend you start thinking much along the same lines of if your morals should be aligning with his, as if this dream store is really something you should be looking for.
All I've known. It's all my father talked about.
Then maybe you should start talking about other things.
It can help us. All of us.
If it can help you, then clearly it helps him. And if it helps him, it's going to help you. In the sense of you don't need help if you're dead.
Wish to die again. I've done it too many times. Anything that staves off death for now is a bonus.
At least think on that then.
We need to keep each other alive.
Good luck with that.
We can't tell Ran or Wulfric.
Why? Do you know what Gairdra did to Ran's mother?
I had heard, or I saw even.
So you don't think he deserves to know that the person who did that is controlling someone who he travels right next to?
He's not controlling me, per se. At least I don't think he is.
What is he doing then? What is his influence over you?
More just a threat, I believe.
And has he threatened you to do anything as of late except bringing... Is he more to gesture to himself?
My only instructions are to aid you, but not directly go against him. And should you find out, is to help you get to him. He clearly wants to fight you.
No, he wants to kill me. There's a difference.
We can get him first.
We can't.
So what, we just leave this evil unchecked in the world?
No, we work till we get to a phase where we can deal with it.
Obviously, I don't mean take you straight to him right now, but...
Did he tell you anything else?
What? Did he tell me it?
I'm trying to think of what he ended up ranting about. The reason I'm laughing is I remember he told you that Eidolon slept with half the barracks.
Oh yeah. Eidolon's a big old slut.
And
I take that as a compliment.
that Eidolon ruined his entire life by stealing the one girl that he loved, and that it was Eidolon's fault that Faerith was dead, not Deirdre's fault that Faerith was dead.
Okay.
But yeah, the one that I was chuckling over was the fact that you found out that Eidolon was apparently a massive whore. I think the only other thing that I guess he kind of gave off the impression of is that the contradictory opinion between you and, or your perceptions of Eidolon and his perceptions of Eidolon, is he very much painted Eidolon as being the villain, with Deirdre being the victim. Everything Eidolon did was to spite Deirdre. Like, he got the perfect life, he got the perfect wife, he got the perfect job, and he didn't need any of those things. He had all the status that Deirdre wanted, but Eidolon took it all from him. Everything he, I guess, told you about Eidolon was very much that Eidolon was the bad guy.
Made you out to be the villain in his story.
And what was he convincing?
Not from what I've seen. You seem very noble in your ways. You uphold justice. He made you out to be just the worst of the worst.
Well, we've got a trip back to Kinrain. I feel if I need to be honest with anybody about who I am, I suppose, I feel this is the best time to do it.
He blamed you for... Was it Faerith?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he blamed you for Faerith's death.
I guess the only way to explain that is to start from the beginning, then.
Harp music.
Do you have the time?
Well, that's a long walk.
Should I just RP this, Em, or should I just explain?
Up to you.
Send it to me in a Word doc.
No.
I'll send you the 7 pages, Paul, don't worry.
Yeah, just send me the doc.
Never.
7 pages? Mine was like 2.
It's up to you, Craig, how you want to do this. This is the first time that in its entirety Eidolon's story will be heard.
Yeah, fine. I'll just do it vocally. It's not actually too much.
Mm-hmm.
And if Paul wants to ask anything, then it gives him the chance to ask it in character.
Us and the audience at home will just have to imagine your gravelly voice as you just explain.
No, I'm gonna do the gravelly voice. Fuck it. I like my gravel voice too much.
Yes, I'm sitting up now.
Well, firstly, I'm sorry.
Story time with Eidolon.
I'm sorry to disappoint if Deirdre painted me to be anybody else than who I said I was. I'm still Eidolon. I didn't always hate existence and being alive, is an easy way to put it.
I know the feeling.
I trust dying twice.
Let's not make it a third.
I don't know what's considered a normal childhood, but I grew up on the wall. Didn't have too many friends, but I had one. His name was Deirdre. I thought he was like a brother to me, and I thought he felt the same. I guess when we were younger, he had a thing for a girl we both knew. I supported it, but they just didn't get along, I guess is the easiest way to put it. Yeah, I mean, you've met him. It's rather difficult to get along with him when he's actually like himself.
What is his actual self? I only saw him with the bloody claws.
That's what he probably is like on the inside, if I'm being honest.
Oh wow, his physical manifestation of monstrosity reflects his soul.
It's almost like I wrote it as a metaphor!
Good job.
Oh, where was I? There we go. Well, they didn't get along, so eventually it just kind of stopped, and I thought that was fine. We became captains about the same time, too. He wasn't happy, I suppose, that I got the position he wanted, but I didn't think it was that extreme. Around the same time, I married my wife, who was the girl he liked when we were kids. It had been 11 years.
Bro, he had dibs.
I kind of had the hope he'd be over it. I asked him, because Eidolon more just goes off on a small tangent where it's just like, he'd asked him multiple times, he said it was okay.
Hey,
Really, that's all I know.
Bro, I know you kind of have a thing for this girl, but I think I'm really into her as well, so it'd be like really cool if like, could I really go after but like that's kind of weird. Is it weird? No. Oh, so you're cool with it? Yeah, cool.
I thought he was okay with it. He said he was okay with it, but I guess not. And then I guess everything was fine for a while. Clearly it wasn't, but eventually she got pregnant. Families happen. Then, well, I trust you've seen the monsters at this point. We've fought enough of them.
Yeah.
And
Apart from our own monsters, our own demons.
Most of us were killed.
Yeah.
I can't cut that plainly. You saw one of the only survivors in the Citadel. You saw what it had done to him.
Yeah.
Me and Gerdor were the two left. And we were told that the civilians in the area would be saved if we kneeled. And I was the only one to do so. He was offered the chance of power because he was too stubborn to kneel to save people. He was handed a mace with the prerequisite that he murder someone for it.
You?
My wife.
No, of course. I should have thought about that.
He got his choice of a civilian to massacre.
Heartless.
And then, when the killing started, he had no reason not to kill me. Sorry for the disappointment, there was no snapping point. He just always had snapped.
I much prefer your version of that to his.
You're free to insight, that is the story. But
I believe you.
I hope that gives you a picture of the person you've accepted a deal from. Didn't happen to miss anything he included in his story?
No, not really. I think all bases are covered.
Eidolon gives a simple shrug. I guess the point of that is just to show that don't take what he says at face value.
So he definitely can't hear me.
Maybe he can, maybe he can't. Though I'm pretty certain in my bets that he probably can't. He couldn't hear what Azimir was saying.
That comes as some relief then. Wait, Asmir?
He's working for Gerdra.
I already knew that.
Congratulations.
That was out of a character. I already knew that. And why was I surprised?
Why were you surprised, Paul?
I don't know. Play it up. Was he the one, and gestures behind them, or was that you?
Blow it up?
Yeah.
Oh no, I did that.
Oh.
See, we traveled with this absolute ass for a few days.
That sounds a bit more cheery than your past. What was he like?
A prick, selfish, money focused. He kidnapped me just because it paid.
You have a price on your head?
Apparently. I think where I'm from wants me home. Listen, I'd be happy to move on. I need to make sure. Don't let it leave your head.
Yeah.
I'm a stranger to you still, Markusar, and you're still a stranger to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect you to take anything from me that makes you misconstrue anything you've been taught for the entirety of your life. But you know what type of person Gerdra is, and you know the type of things we're fighting. You know what that does to the world. You see what it did in the Citadel and what it even did to Eidolon. If someone aligned with that wants the exact same thing as you do, what is it that you're really searching for?
I don't believe he wants what I want, but he said he can help me get what I want.
Can't believe that, Markusar.
I have to. What else have I got?
You've got the Green Hand. You've got Eidolon.
That are slowly going to get swallowed up by. Have we reached Kinreen yet?
Yeah, you're on just the borders.
Yeah, I'm kind of gesturing to the buildings that are going to be just coming into view. So Eidolon's going to get swallowed up.
Then be a part of it. Make sure how it's done is done your way. Doesn't have to be your father's way. Again, you've only known me for a few months. I'm not going to revolutionize your thinking.
Wow, after this conversation, yeah, you're right. I'm going to change my whole outlook on life.
Oh, yeah!
Great.
Oh, this again.
It's all I've known, all I've been taught. it's hard to change.
You're not in Halden anymore. You've got the time to start thinking on it.
I feel so far from she. I barely hear her now.
You died once and were brought back by her force. You died a second time, but clearly that's not the case. And I can't say what the influence of Gerdra is going to do to your connection with her anymore.
I want to defeat him, but
Tell me, what if defeating him took abandoning your goal? Would you do it? If you had the choice between protecting your green hand from this and following your father's destiny, what would you do?
I don't know. I want to protect the Green Hand. My father assured me this would protect the Green Hand.
No offense, kid, but your dad didn't seem to be all in the right place.
You never met him.
But I've met those who did. Including you. That was an insult, Paul, not a compliment.
No, I was doing a you know,
Oh,
kind of, yeah, like
he has met me.
I like to think I'll make the right choice when it comes.
Just don't leave the choice waiting like you did the dart on my bed.
We should probably go see to that.
Yeah.
But I promise you, we can't tell Ran and Wulfric.
If you don't tell me when something happens, if Gerdra appears and he has you do something, and you don't tell me, I will tell them. This is not a threat. This is a promise of safety for those two.
Understandable. Should we get a hand signal or something?
What?
Like a non-verbal way of communication so they don't know that we're talking about Gerdra.
You just see Eidolon like blink.
Okay, I'm gonna like wink twice with my right eye, and that wait, hold on. I'm trying to think about. That's not super obvious.
I'm gonna expend a key
wave
point.
my arms like this.
I'm gonna expend a key point. Markusar hears in his head. You know I can speak telepathically, right?
Okay, yeah, that's pretty useful. Can I respond?
No.
Just communicate. If you think something's up, just speak into my head, and I'll give
Just tell me you need to talk to me.
Okay.
It's what we did this time.
Alright.
But if you don't, they will know.
Yes.
And I apologize, but not to you, but to your green hand if anything happens.
God, I'll have stories for them when I get back.
Just get back then. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
Back at the house.
Yeah. Well, the two of you will be coming back into Cynreen. Ran and Wulfric will have been fixing the room at this point in time, as with, I guess, your heart-to-heart and revelation and Eidolon's story coming into light in its entirety, we will end our session there for this evening.
Oh man, it's only 10.
Yeah, but going
There's
in...
only one combat.
I wanted to talk more with Wulfric. Yeah. I'll have to save that for next time.
You'll have next time, you'll have next week, where things will get slightly more interesting as you are now a party again.
The OG crew's back.
And
Backstreet's back!
Alright.
and
Tag yourself, which one of the Backstreet Boys are you?
don't think for a second, Paul, I'm letting you forget about your little task.
I haven't forgot.
I know.
Just the opportune moment. The moment didn't arise. Much the same way as my wild shape. I'm waiting for the opportune moment.
Yeah, but the difference is no one would die if you didn't wild shape.
Yeah.
If Paul's doing something for Gerdra and he hasn't told me, I'm telling Ranaagash and Wulfric.
I'm telling Mom.
Literally, yeah. I'm telling Mom. Wulfric is Mom.
I'm telling Dad.
Also, Ewan, you said you had a RP interaction in Wulfric and Eidolon that you want to do. Will that be next session?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Eidolon and
It's
Wulfric
really,
get coffee!
It's a meet cute.
it's a really basic, and it's honestly it's an idea I'm surprised nobody's thought of sooner.
Oh, okay.
I look forward to
I'm
it.
interested.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it just takes a short time, I'm happy for any RP interaction because it's the best part of D&D.
Not getting the
As
screen at 20s. Sorry.
I got
Still
another
Sully?
one today.
as yeah, for tonight, for this session, for my boys, we are done. We are wrapped up for tomorrow with our usual layout and schedule returning next week. But for now, it is goodbye from me, and since Paul and Craig are already waving, it is goodbye from my boys.
Goodbye.